Hello and welcome to Middle Eastern Thursday. So today, guys, I have for you two fragrances that have been recently launched, but although they're pretty new, there's already been quite a bit of hype around them. And I'm speaking about Lattafa Ana Abiyedh Coral and, of course, from French Avenue, Coconut Leche. So I'm going to go ahead, of course, as always, I'll share the notes with you and I will discuss the fragrances in detail. But before we jump right in, if this is your first time here, I'm Arahi and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and start with Coconut Leche. And Coconut Leche was just launched recently. I really don't know how long ago it was. It may have been maybe like a month ago. And as soon as it was available, I went ahead and picked it up. Now, Coconut Leche is definitely a gourmand, and from all the research that I did, I couldn't find anywhere where it was said that it was inspired by anything. So in case you're wondering, I don't think that this one has been inspired by anything, by the way, because it's really not reminding me of anything in specific. But let's go ahead and get into the details of Coconut Leche. All right, guys, so Coconut Leche opens to me quite airy. And at that, it opens with a very intense, like coconut milk accord, not coconut water and not like a creamy coconut. No, like truly coconut milk. And, now that I've shared with you the notes, I also wanted to tell you that I really believe that there's also the note of milk. In addition to coconut milk and coconut, I think that there's milk in this fragrance because to my nose, it comes across as quite lactonic. Is it like sickly or something where you have to be concerned? No, but it's just a very lactonic fragrance to my nose. Now, after that opening, which is quite airy, it's not cloying or anything like that, but that coconut milk, as I said before, is quite intense. You are going to find that as you continue in the progression of the fragrance, it becomes like a bit more and more intense. And midway through the olfactory journey, now that coconut milk that opened the fragrance has become like a true creamy coconut. Once that creamy coconut steps in, guys, it's almost like the fragrance becomes a bit sweeter. Not by much, because this is not like a sickly sweet kind of coconut gourmand fragrance. No, this is actually very nicely done. But that coconut that is now creamy is also sweet. And of course, the lactonic quality of the fragrance has intensified. As you approach the dry down, guys, it's like a magical moment. It's like my favorite part of the olfactory journey because while the opening is quite pleasant, if you're into like coconut and coconut milk and coconut water, I have to tell you that approaching the dry down is when it gets really interesting because that creamy coconut that you find midway in the olfactory journey intensifies, but it starts to pick up like a toasted coconut quality. So it gives it like not a smoky scent, but you are definitely going to pick up on that toasted coconut. Like when you take coconut flakes and you toast them, that's what you're going to pick up on. And then in addition to that, you're going to find that the vanilla, which has been in the background, kind of faint in the opening and then a bit more, but still kind of weak midway in the olfactory journey. Now towards the dry down, and at the dry down, the vanilla is definitely present. Not dominant because this fragrance is all about the coconut, but the vanilla is definitely present. I have to tell you guys that this has been such a pleasant fragrance for me to work with because throughout the olfactory journey, it is just very, very pleasant with all of those like coconut moments, to call it something. The dry down is incredible and the wear is just fantastic. But I have to tell you that this to me is reminiscent of, like, in Spanish, dulce de leche con coco. It's like a dessert that is made with like coconut flakes that have been slightly toasted, and then like you dunk all that in like condensed milk, evaporated milk, coconut milk, and then you just let those flakes simmer in that mix of milk, and it just comes out to this very creamy and robust and yummy and delicious type of dessert. And that is a dessert that was made in my house as I was growing up quite frequently. So for me, this has been like very nostalgic, but it's not a nostalgic fragrance. It's just that for me, it evokes those memories. But truly, at the dry down, you are going to get an ultra yummy dessert. So if you were to say, okay, Arahi, so what are the accords of this fragrance? I can tell you that to me, this is a sweet, lactonic, coconutty, but creamy coconutty type of fragrance that also borders on being a bit tropical. But is this one of those fragrances that's a coconut centric fragrance and I would tell you to save it for just the summer or when you're going on holiday to like a tropical kind of setting? No, this is definitely a fragrance that does give me a tropical vibe, but there is versatility to it because it's not really limited to just like the spring and summer seasons. And we'll talk more about that later when I tell you for what seasons it is best suited. But I can tell you that it definitely does have a tropical vibe, and it's also a tad warm spicy. And the spice that I pick up on clearly is the cinnamon. But is it something that if you're not into cinnamon, you should be concerned about? No, because this fragrance has also been blended rather nice. I tell you, I'm very impressed because Coconut Leche has really been done very, very nicely and gives you such a pleasant coconut experience. The only caution that I would have for you is that you really obviously need to be into the note of coconut and of course like a lactonic fragrance, because this is number one, all about the coconut, and number two, it is a lactonic fragrance. This fragrance has absolutely no oud, and I would say that it has a musk level, I would say like a level 2 musk, which means that you are going to pick up on the musk, but it is very smooth and it doesn't have an animalic quality to it at all. In addition to that, I think that this is a fragrance, as I was starting to say before, that although it's a coconut fragrance, guys, I think you can pull this off any season of the year for any occasion, day or night, because I do find this fragrance to be quite elegant. Again, it does have a tad of a tropical vibe and it is truly a gourmand, but for some reason there is like an elegance to it. This is a fragrance that I think is truly unisex. To me, this really doesn't lean to the masculine or to the feminine side. This is truly a unisex fragrance. And as far as performance, well, remember, I just picked up this fragrance, right? So it has not had a chance to sit. And my experience with French Avenue fragrances is that you have to give them some time. They're not ones that take like a whole year for you to see the fragrance bloom, but it is definitely, one that will require some time to sit. But at that, the performance is quite good because it is giving me 7 hours without having to overspray. And it does have a strong projection during, I would say, almost the first 90 minutes. But then after that, it does become a skin scent, but you are going to sniff the fragrance throughout the day. All in all, guys, I am very, very impressed with Coconut Leche, and I'm very, very happy that I picked it up because it is truly a fragrance that I think I'm really going to enjoy, and it doesn't just limit me to when I want to smell like a dessert, because again, there's an inherent elegance and smoothness to the fragrance. Let us know if you have picked up and tried Coconut Leche and your thoughts. All right, guys, so now next into the fragrance that I know you guys have really been waiting for because, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever received this many requests to have a fragrance reviewed here on the channel. And I'm pretty sure that it's because of the fragrance that it was allegedly inspired by. So we are now going to talk about Lattafa's Ana Abiyedh Coral. Now, Ana Abiyedh, to start off, is a collection within Lattafa. And I know that they have an Ana Abiyedh Rouge, and there is like the OG Ana Abiyedh, but to be honest with you, I have never really tried any of them. This one is my first one. And this one really pulled me because of the fragrance that it is allegedly inspired by, which we're going to talk about in detail. Now, the fragrance that it was allegedly inspired by is none other than Room 1015 Wavechild. Now, I think that the reason that you guys have been requesting this review so much is because if you've been with me for a while, you know that although I do own Wavechild, it was a blind buy, and it was not a successful blind buy for me at all. I know that this fragrance at this point has a cult following and so many people love it, and I'm so glad that you enjoy it because I just really don't. No matter how I've tried, there's just something in it, and I think I finally have figured out what it is. So of course, while I review Ana Abiyedh Coral and I compare it to Wavechild, I will let you know what I think has been really getting my nose into a tizzy when it relates to this fragrance. All right, guys, so the way that I want to review Ana Abiyedh Coral is by truly speaking to how it compares to Wavechild. And then, of course, I'm going to focus on giving you all of the details around this one. But I just want to address the entire comparison to Wavechild. Let me just start by saying that when I received the fragrance, as always, I sprayed it out and I let it sit several days. And then I started to test it. Now, when I sprayed it out, it immediately kind of gave me vibes of Wavechild. I'm not going to say that it was the same opening because it was not. But it did give me kind of like that vibe. Now, keep in mind that by the time I picked up this fragrance, I already knew that allegedly it was inspired by Wavechild, and I had also had a chance to take a look at the notes. And of course, the notes are very similar, if not the same, as Wavechild. So that may have already, prepared my subconscious for trying to find Wavechild in this fragrance. But here's what I have to say. There are definitely negligible differences between both and also considerable differences. So we are going to focus today on the considerable differences. All right, guys. So to me, Ana Abiyedh Coral is a fragrance that opens up sweet, but the opening is dense. And when I say dense, I mean, it's all about the peach, okay? But at that, I don't think that it's necessarily like the scent of a fresh, ripe, sliced peach or one that you bite into. No. To me, this opening, while very realistic, because it is a very realistic peach opening, it's more of like if they use like a peach puree, like they pureed a very ripe and juicy and sweet peach, and that is what they have in here. That is what I get in the opening. So for me, the opening is not airy. It is all about the peach. It sets the tone immediately. In the opening, I do not get watermelon. I really don't get much of anything except that very dense peach. Now, I make it a point to tell you that it's a dense peach because that's what I'm picking up and I want you to know, but I am really, really loving that opening. It is not until maybe like a minute after the opening that I start to really acknowledge in my mind that there are some citrusy notes involved. Now, I can't really put my finger on what those citrusy notes are, and I know that the notes, say what they say, but I typically like to try and find the notes in the olfactory journey if I can. I can tell you that there is a citrusy quality to the fragrance as it's approaching midway through the olfactory journey. It's a citrusness that I do not pick up in the opening because, again, the opening to me is all about that very dense, realistic, sweet, juicy, ripe peach. Now, As we approach midway in the olfactory journey, I also start to pick up on the coconut and the watermelon. And the coconut and the watermelon do not come in like in a demure way. Oh no, I pick up clearly on the watermelon, which is also very realistic, and I definitely pick up on the coconut. The coconut is not giving me flaky coconut. It's not giving me toasted coconut. It's not giving me creamy coconut at this point. It is giving me more like maybe like a coconut water, because now that the citrusy notes and the watermelon and this like coconut water note have jumped in, the fragrance does become a bit airy. The fragrance was never cloying, but midway in the olfactory journey, it's giving me an airiness that I did not experience in the opening. Now, as you approach the dry down, I start to also pick up on the vanilla. Now, for me, the vanilla has been there since like approaching mid olfactory journey, but it was faint and in the background, so I really didn't pay much attention to it. But approaching the dry down, the vanilla does intensify a bit, but never becoming like a dominant note in this fragrance, because again, the dominant and the star is the peach. And if I had to pick a second, it would be the watermelon and the coconut. So at the dry down, you are going to get an exquisitely beautiful, beautiful fruity fragrance that also has a vanilla to it, but the vanilla is not dominant in any way on a backdrop of some florals. And for me, the florals are like an exquisite blend, because it is very clear to me that this fragrance is not about the florals. It's about, again, the peach and maybe the watermelon and the coconut, because that's really what you're going to get. You're going to get the most beautiful fruity scent at the dry down that is primarily comprised of the watermelon, the coconut, and our star, which continues to be the peach. So this fragrance has absolutely no oud. They did not disclose oud, and I'm not picking up on oud at all, but it is a fragrance that has musk, and the musk, I would say, is like a level 2, actually approaching a level 3, because I do pick up on the musk clearly. And most specifically at the dry down, I do get that musk clearly. But the musk is not an animalic musk, so you don't have to be concerned about that, but you are going to pick up on the musk. This to me is not a unisex fragrance. This is a fully feminine fragrance. I can't imagine a gentleman wearing this fragrance, but hey, wear whatever you want. But I just don't see it, because to me, this is truly feminine. This is also a fragrance, guys, that is super versatile, because you can wear it for any occasion, any season of the year, day or night. This is just a beautifully done peach-centric fragrance. I'm also happy to say that this is a fragrance that does perform very well, because it does give me a full day wear, and it's definitely one that you can easily get 8+ hours from. And remember, guys, I just received this fragrance. It was just launched, so it hasn't had a chance to sit. So I wonder if after it's had a chance to sit for a while, is it going to become like a beast mode fragrance? Because I'm quite impressed with the performance. This is giving me a strong projection for the first 2+ hours, maybe like 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and 15 minutes. It's a little bit over 2 hours of a strong projection. And I can also tell you that the sillage is exquisite, because I've already received multiple compliments. As soon as I sprayed it, people noticed. So that to me tells me quite a bit about this fragrance. All right, so now before I start with our discussion around comparing Wavechild to Ana Abiyedh Coral, let me just start by saying, guys, that I think I have finally figured out what is it with this fragrance that does not sit well with me. And I actually discovered it while testing and comparing both of these fragrances. And I think that what I pick up with this fragrance is like an aquatic, like almost like salty accord that doesn't, for whatever reason, sit well with my nose. And it's funny, because I do have other fragrances in my collection that have that accord, you know, that salty, like ocean kind of, like, I can't even explain it, but that's what I get. But it is definitely like an aquatic, salty accord. And while that may work for many, for some reason with this fragrance, it's just not sitting well with me. So let me just start by saying that Wavechild, to me, in the opening, is an airy fragrance. As it is, I think that Wavechild was designed to be an airy fragrance. Thus, it is perfection for spring and absolute perfection for the summer, in my opinion. So it does open airy, but at that, there's a citrusy quality to the opening, courtesy of, if I remember correctly, the note of lemon that you find in Wavechild that you're not going to find in Abiyedh Coral. Not to mention the fact that I already told you, Abiyedh Coral does not open airy at all to my nose. It is a dense opening where the focus is the note of peach. In addition to that, when it comes to Wavechild, yes, you are going to get that watermelon and the coconut, but this fragrance also has the note of cocoa. And while having that note of cocoa, guys, the cocoa to my nose is very present, starting, I would say, midway in the olfactory journey, all the way to dry down and throughout the wear of the fragrance. And I do not pick up cocoa at all in Ana Abiyedh Coral. I mean, obviously they haven't disclosed it, but they could have it in there and just not disclose it, as many do, right? But I'm not picking up cocoa at all, because that cocoa gives this fragrance a totally different spin starting midway in the olfactory journey. Now, one of the things that I've always shared with you about my experience with Wavechild is that while many people talk about the watermelon that is present, I barely pick it up. And I think that it's because to my nose, the cocoa and even maybe the coconut overwhelm the watermelon in some respect, and then that salty note just completely does a number to my nose. So I just don't get that here. So let me just say that when it comes to Ana Abiyedh, when it comes to the notes, the fruity notes in Ana Abiyedh Coral, guys, to my nose, they are very present. There's no denying that there's a fresh watermelon in it. There's no denying that there's coconut, and there's certainly no denying that it's a peach-centric fragrance. But when it comes to Wavechild, that is not the experience that I get at all whatsoever. Furthermore, that aquatic quality with that saltiness that I've been telling you about is not one that I pick up on Ana Abiyedh Coral whatsoever. So to me right there, that sets Wavechild apart. And if I'm honest, it makes it perfection for the summer. Even though you can use Ana Abiyedh Coral for any season of the year, and you can do it for spring and summer, obviously, when it comes to that aquatic note and the way that the watermelon and the coconut and the other notes have been done in Wavechild, this makes it to me more of a summer and even spring fragrance. So if you ask me, okay, Arahi, so are they the same? I have to tell you that although there are parts of the olfactory journey that will remind you of Wavechild when you're experiencing the olfactory journey of Ana Abiyedh Coral, to me, these two are not the same fragrance. Let me just say that even though I am not a fan of Wavechild, that does not take away from being objective in really taking a look at this fragrance. And I can tell you that, to me, Wavechild is a more refined kind of fragrance. Does that mean that I just think Ana Abiyedh is not refined at all? No. It's just that to my nose, truly, this is a more refined fragrance. So when it comes to saying, are these two the same? No, they're not the same. If you ask me, okay, Arahi, which one is best? I would say to you, which one is best? The one that is best suited for the specific season and occasion. Because if you're going on holiday, I would say that, and you're going to be at the beach and things like that, I would say that this is a great fragrance to bring for during the day, for excursions, for even casual evening events or occasions. But Ana Abiyedh is one that you can bring and just use anytime. But which one is going to feel best? It depends on what you're doing for the day. That's all I'm trying to say. Personally, which one do I think is best? I think they're both great, but I obviously prefer Ana Abiyedh. Is it that I prefer Ana Abiyedh because I think that it was done better because it was supposed to be like a Wavechild, but it's better than Wavechild? No, I like Ana Abiyedh for what it is as a standalone fragrance. All right, guys, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I really hope that I was able to answer your questions specifically because I've received the question so much around Ana Abiyedh and Wavechild. Anyway, guys, as always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.